Hello, this is Sean O'Connor with Smart Design. I'll be your chairman for this year's design track at FEI Europe. Our theme is Design Therapy, Enhancing Lives and Improving Business. We will be investigating how design brings together disparate functions within an organization to unlock innovation potential. I'm thrilled to introduce to you one of our speakers who's been creating successful user experience and product strategies for over 15 years and who sits squarely in the intersection of design and innovation within her organization, Pamela Mead. Pamela joined Telefónica in 2009 as Director of User Experience and is responsible for the ideation and conceptualization of new competitive services. Her organization recently went through a major restructuring where her team's work and visibility shoots straight up to the top. During her presentation, she will be sharing what she's learned on her 2-year journey about engaging both businesses and key stakeholders into the design process. Pamela, thanks so much for joining us at FEI this year.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
I'd like to start by asking you about Telefónica's reorg and why was it done and what is this new entity, Telefónica Digital?
So Telefónica reorganized last fall into 4 organizations, 2 regional units, LATAM and Europe, a unit focusing on global resources, and Telefónica Digital. So Telefónica Digital is a global business unit with the power to compete and win in the digital world. We've been asked to find and create new opportunities to ensure Telefónica is a growth company, which in essence means we are positioned to be a driver of Telefónica's future. As Telefónica Digital, we're building global products and services in areas like future communications, M2M, advertising, or financial services. We also focus on products and services in new categories like e-health. So to summarize, Telefónica Digital is about being a relevant player in the digital world. This is a very exciting and challenging opportunity for us.
Oh, that sounds exciting. In terms of your overall strategic objectives, what were you brought into the organization to do as part of that process that you've been describing?
That's interesting. Good question. So you've mentioned earlier that I've been with Telefónica for 2 years, and I would say my role and the role of design inside of Telefónica has evolved over the course of 2 years. So originally when I joined what is Telefónica's R&D organization, and I was asked to set up a user experience group, introduce customer focus and customer focused practices with a specific emphasis on our innovation practices. Over the 2 years then we've been building the core team. We've set up a customer-driven innovation methodology, if you will, that we both practice, but we also have training sessions for different players in the organization to become familiar with what we mean by customer-driven focus. And, of course, we've, in the last year and a half, also have started to really apply the same principles to our, what I call product delivery activities. So I would say we've had a pretty tremendous impact over the 2 years evolving the organization through this focus and through the work that we've been able to produce. Now, with Telefónica Digital, that objective is really expanded, if you will, because of the overall focus of Telefónica Digital. So we are part of creating the future that for Telefónica Digital really has to include focusing on customers and delivering customer delight and customer differentiation. So we now have a larger organization that we engage with in order to embody the vision that we started to work on 2 years ago when I first joined.
So that's an interesting topic in terms of engagement. Can you tell me how you've been engaging non-designers within the innovation process at Telefónica?
Absolutely. So I would consider categorizing the different stakeholders who we work with, the different co-workers and colleagues, as falling into roughly 3 categories, if you will. On one end, I would say we have the believers and the engagers, people who get it, or if they don't get it, they really embrace it. They're willing to take on their part of this journey and really collaborate closely with us. With some of our best partners, we then inevitably lead to some really passionate discussion and debates, which I always view as being at core of really producing outstanding results. And I would say we have a group in the middle that are what I call committers, people who are engaging in the process of customer-driven innovation, but they don't really fully understand it. They think designers still do some kind of weird magic, don't fully understand what this is that we're talking about. But they're willing to reserve judgment, and they keep engaging with us. They keep working with us. They keep participating, and most of them at the end of the process, really have a much different sense of what we are really talking about, and generally become either believers or enthusiasts. So on the other side of the spectrum, then we have the skeptics, people who are not completely sure they understand what we're talking about. They may have a really different way in which to think, and the design thinking process is just a bit too foreign for them. And so they simply can't find a way in which to engage with us, and frequently they simply disengage, so when they disengage, they leave a pretty significant hole in the process. And the both challenge as a result of that, as well as the opportunity, has been my team. I've asked my team to step in and provide more leadership. The challenge in that is if we're under-resourced, then we have more work. But the opportunity is also we can show by doing, which is one of the themes I'll be talking about in my presentation.
That's a terrific theme. When you think about, a lot of people talk about design thinking. But it'll be great to talk at the conference about design doing and what it is that we need to be doing in order to pull people into the process to get the most out of it. That's a great sort of mantra, I guess, that you have moving into the new year, huh?
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, I will talk about that a little bit. I think the foundation of it is having quality people and really delivering quality results, because that's how you build the trust, especially in organizations where what we do by the nature of how we work and how we think is going to be different.
Yeah, and I would imagine that in order to have the kind of impact that you can have with an organization of the size of Telefónica, you probably need a lot of support from above. And that kind of leads me to my next question, which was, how does your organization structure enable design innovation?
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I believe you and I have talked about in the past that's really quite interesting about the opportunity of design thinking and design innovation is in Telefónica is that, broadly speaking, there was not a design group in existence. There is a very talented design team in Telefónica Spain, and our O2 operating businesses have a very strong customer-centric mindset. But inside of our original R&D organization, and I would say even inside of Telefónica Digital, there really was no previous design culture. And so the benefit it's given me and the team is to really to set the stage and the tone for this discourse in a way that we believe is the right way to go. And people don't have a preconceived notion of how it will work or how it has worked in the past. So that's really quite terrific. On top of that, and with Telefónica Digital, the design group is quite senior in the overall structure. I report to Carlos Domingo, who heads up product development and innovation, and he in turn is part of Matthew Key's executive committee. So we have a lot of visibility in the overall strategy and philosophy of the organization, and have an active voice in how to think about creating the kinds of products and services that we envision producing.
It's kind of like an ideal situation. You've got a whiteboard, and you've got senior management sort of listening and supporting you. What's the biggest challenge for you guys at Telefónica in accomplishing these goals?
So the biggest challenge is also the biggest opportunity. Telefónica Group, we're still part of an integral part of the organization, and it is a really big organization. And so, changing and shifting an organization of that size, by definition, brings challenges, and there can be a myriad of them, from procurement processes, which I know you know something about.
Yes,
to just really how do we get things into market. And so, the opportunity, of course, is that we have a very significant presence in Latin America with a very large user base. And so our footprint gives us an opportunity to reach a lot of people who who we can engage through our product and services. And of course, we are not limiting ourselves through our existing customer base. We can reach beyond that with OTT services. So the power of Telefónica is also the asset that we have that we can really leverage and work. And I would say this year in particular, we're going to start to be able to launch some of the products and services into markets, and they're quite exciting and are reflective of the change that we were already going through. And I would say this is an amazing time to be inside of an organization like Telefónica, really an integral part of the change, which is pretty significant for not only Telefónica but for telcos as an industry. And I'm very, very optimistic and almost bullish on what we'll be able to produce.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing some of that stuff come into the marketplace. And I personally can't wait to see you this year at FEI. We'll be there from the 27th to the 29th of February. To learn more about FEI Europe or for registration information, log on to www.iirusa.com/FEI Europe. Thanks so much, Pamela.
Thank you, Sean. I will see you in Zurich.